Angela is the 2017 champion that I feel like will just never age. There's way too much utility packed into this kit that most Cosmics do not have an immediate access to, that Angela just takes to her advantage and uses on so many pieces of content in this game. Along with the fact that her damage just scales super well for how old she is in many different areas of the contest, such as Battlegrounds, Alliance War, Incursions. Of course, you know how well she is in Incursions, I'm sure, and even things like Spring of Sorrow, which we're going to get to later. But this champion, again, just never ages because of how relevant her kit still is, both on the damage and utility side. She has abilities to basically be immune to nullify, make sure that the opponent can never auto-block, completely ignore damaging debuffs on herself, and just has some really nice basic attack damage with all those Furies and Precision she gets to match the relevance. So in this video, we're going to be going through a bunch of different places in the contest that Angela has a lot of strong suits, and breaking down why she's really good for these areas of the game, and just showing you how you should use her in the different areas of the game. So we're going to start off here against Winter Soldier, and we're going to fight Winter Soldier and Captain Marvel, and in both of these fights I'm going to show you the two different Angela rotations I feel like you should know. And the first one is going to be the one I'm mainly going to use in this video, and that is just you want to get a special 1 thrown, and then you want to throw an SP2, and then the opponent, is usually dead by then. But basically what this rotation is doing is it's giving you the maximum amount of Furies you can have, which is 3, and also giving you precision to take advantage of those Furies a lot more, because Angela's crit damage rating is really nice. Like, when she crits versus when she doesn't crit, you can definitely feel the difference. So I do want to have a precision weaved into my rotation if I can, even if that means sacrificing the Fury damage I would have by being above 1 bar of power. So anyway, at this point, we're doing 20k mediums here, and we throw another SP1. The SP1's going to finish the job, and that is Winter Soldier down in under a minute, which is definitely pretty nice. So while you are above 2 bars of power and you don't have the permanent Fury, you're obviously hitting a little bit weaker, but you're also getting that precision ready for your next cycle, which is going to be really beneficial in the long run. So the second rotation, which I don't use too much, but definitely is really helpful sometimes, is going to be the Aptitude rotation on her SP3, which is you literally just go to the SP3, you gain a non-permanent Aptitude, you throw the SP3, and then your Furies just kind of go insane after that, the ones you're going to start to build. So anyway, we're going to get to an SP3 right here. We have the Precision active, so we have a Fury, a Precision, and an Armor up, and now we have our non-permanent Aptitude going, so we're going to gain a large Aptitude at the end of this special attack. It's got a really nice SP3 animation too, I do like it. And now we have those 2 Aptitudes, which once we start proccing our Furies, which we will once we get to 1 bar of power, our damage is just going to go absolutely mental. Like, let's see, we're going to throw an SP1 here, 30k mediums right now, place some armor breaks, and then I'm going to go counter right there, 38k mediums, and that was a 54k medium. Like, dude, she just hits so hard after you get those Aptitudes going, so it is very useful for Spring of Sorrow type content. Unfortunately, I didn't think to use the rotation for one of the fights that I wish I did, but we'll get to that later. And we're going to start off against Battlegrounds fights here, starting against the Satuma, and this is in the Rich Get Richer meta, which definitely helps her a lot here. Not all of these fights are going to be from the Rich Get Richer meta, but the first couple are, and they definitely are very useful for her, because Angela just loves Rich Get Richer, and you're going to see this is a good example why. We're just going to use the power to wait until we can get a Fury, and then start wailing on Atuma once we do get that Fury. So here we go, we want to get an opening now. I get an intercept there, 16k medium right off the bat, and look at Atuma's health just melting. That was 1 combo in an SP1, and he's already down to, well, below 50% now. He was at like 64 earlier. And once we get our regen ticking, that's going to help cover a lot of the Thorns damage we are taking in this fight. So, yeah, that was a really solid fight. Again, Rich Get Richer definitely helped a lot there. Not going to try and hide that, but also just the way she scales with that node is really cool. So, next up we're going to fight Nick Fury. I think this is the only other Rich Get Richer fight we have in the video. Maybe another one, we'll see. But Angela is just nice for Nick Fury just because of how good her damage is. That's really the only reason, because if you have really good damage, you shouldn't always have a big problem with Nick Fury, so Angela isn't really an exception there. But basically, we're just gonna do the regular rotation where we get an SP1, then we're gonna get an SP2, and then just enjoy the feast of the buffs on our basic attacks. So I'm gonna try to push Nick to an SP2 here. We're just taking advantage of plenty rich get richer here, and he throws his SP2, and I'm gonna go for a relic maybe. Yeah, relic, and now I'm gonna drop my SP2 right before I hit 3 bars of power, push him into his second life. He's going to heal back all the SP2 damage, of course, and then he throws an SP1 into my block, of course, but that's all good. We're going to go for another SP1, or SP2 I meant, right there. Have the armor breaks active, so doing a good job. And we obviously wanted to throw an SP1 there because we already had the non-passive precision, or non-permanent precision, but either way, we dropped this SP2, and then that's just going to finish the job in just a second. He throws his SP2, and then the fight's over with a 14k medium right after. So 64-second Nick takedown is definitely pretty nice. And here, next up, we're going to go against Shuri. I think this is the victory track meta, so they gain armors when I block them, and then I have a chance to armor break on my light attacks. Holy crap, man, the loading time. So we lost like almost 10 seconds there, which is cool. But anyway, we can parry Shuri's basic attacks because Angela can parry non-contact attacks, which is just a super nice utility mechanic that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that she has. And yeah, we're doing a lot of damage now. Those armor breaks definitely help, but they're not doing too much to make her damage different than what she would normally be doing in this fight. And yeah, Angela just destroys Shuri. Like, just the ability to parry her like that means you're like almost never going to let her charge a heavy attack to go untouchable and stuff. So we drop the SP1, it finishes the job, and then we do the fight in 46 seconds, I believe, which is actually more like 38, closer to that, I'd say. So anyway, really nice fight there. Next up, we're going to fight Red Skull in the same meta. And the armor breaks definitely help from the Cosmic Shatter buff, but you can definitely take Red Skulls with Angela without it, because you're still going to be armor breaking every time you throw a special attack, so that's going to be nice. So anyway, we're armor breaking on our basics here, and that's definitely helping to make our stuns more likely to trigger and stuff, also remove a little bit of Red Skull's crit resistance and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to drop an SP1 right after he throws his special attack, and guess what? He's going to gain an auto block, but he can't use that because of my Angela's Sig ability, allowing her to just completely ignore auto block and such. And the best part about Angela's ignorance of auto block is that it's not part of a buff. Well, I mean, it is kind of part of a buff, but doesn't have its specific buff like a True Sense or a True Accuracy would. So any nodes or champions like Arcade who would prevent that type of buff from happening, well, she still gains the benefit because she doesn't need an actual True Sense buff to counter auto block. So that's very nice. Next up, we're going to be fighting a rank 3 Killmonger, and this is one where the meta is definitely helpful here. Not going to try and hide that, but she still would do a pretty good job for Killmonger without it, because she's still going to be armor breaking on her special attacks and such. Granted, those armor breaks aren't the longest armor breaks or anything, but they're still there and would help make the fight easier to manage. So I'm not going to say it's like one of the best matchups out there, but it is definitely nice if you can do that. So now we're going for an SP2. Try to gain a, I couldn't gain a Ticking Fury, just his crit resistance is so annoying, dude. So here we are with a special 2. I'm going to drop it in just a second. So we have a non-permanent precision ticking, which is very nice, because that's not going to get consumed when we have a different bar of power. So now we just do a bunch of damage with the Furies, and we throw a special 1 here. And then I'm going to go for a combo and a relic, and that's going to be the end of Killmonger here. So rank 3 Killmonger is going to go down about 70-something seconds, which honestly for Killmonger isn't that bad because of how unbelievably tanky he is and how much waiting out you sometimes have to do against him. So I'm not too mad about that score at all. Next up, we're doing a few off-season war fights, starting here against this Omega Sentinel, and this has Power Snack. And guess what Angela's Sig ability does? It makes it to where you will reduce the ability accuracy of Nullify. And Power Snack is a nullify effect. So basically what we just need to do is play relatively aggressive just to gain a few buffs early on in the fight. And we can do that a little bit by doing heavy attacks because she has extra crit rate on her heavy attacks. And see right here we have about 35% nullify resistance. And once we get more buffs, that's just going to continue to go up and up because it's 35% per buff on me. So there it got nullified, so I have 0 again. But now I have a regeneration buff, which counts. I need to start triggering a Fury on my crit. Once I get that, then I'm going to have another buff. I got it eaten by Power Snack, that's okay, because once Power Snack is on cooldown and I get another crit there, boom, now we have 70% nullify resistance. And here we're going to go to 2 bars of power, boom, 100% nullify resistance because we have 3 buffs. So now the fight is literally basically shut down. I just have to deal with the power sting a little bit, which is fine because it doesn't hit the hardest. It's just kind of there a lot of times, and I'm willpowering because of the cowardice on me as well. So yeah, now this Omega Sentinel is just dead. Like Angela just being nullify resistant like that is so useful for so many nodes. And this Power Snack is just one example of them, so that's pretty cool. Next up, we're going to be fighting Spot on Hazard Shift. So guess what? Another part of Angela's SIG ability is to reduce the duration of damaging debuffs on herself, also by 35% per buff on herself. So basically, I'm going to start with an armor up, which is going to give me 35% less duration of damage over time. So 35%, and then once we gain a ticking buff, that's another buff, so now we're at 70%. So any incinerates I'm going to get on me right now are going to be 70% less duration, or have 70% less duration. So you can see they go away just really fast. And now we have 3 buffs. So we're basically immune to damage over time at this point. Like, the fight is basically over, which is really awesome, because now all I have to worry about is the stun immunity node and Spot's own kit, and I have this fight down. So throw an SP1 here. He's at 4 spots, meaning his special attack he's going to throw, he's going to be at 5. So I'm going to have to be aware of that. He throws his SP1. I'm going to go to trigger the miss right there, and boom, no rupture. So that's awesome. Boom, no rupture again. And we're going to go back in, start doing a bunch of damage now. And we have 3 Furies. One's going to fall off, which is fine. And then we're going to counter his special, giving us the ability to not let him gain spots for a second. And then I'm going to go for a heavy attack into an SP1. And we get another Fury. So I need him to throw a special attack now, just so I can prevent his spot gain once again. And he does. So there we go. Now he's down to 2 spots. He can't gain a little more for a few seconds. And we're just doing regular Angela things at this point. He's at 2 spots still. He throws another SP1. We're just keeping him at 2 and 3 so he never gains untouchable again, which is really helpful, and we're just hitting really hard. Clarity is not an issue just because of how many buffs we're gaining and such. So here he's at 5 spots, which is annoying, but it's alright. I'm going to trigger the untouchable process during his special attack right there, which is a really nice trick if you don't know. When you're fighting Spot, you can do that and start his untouchable going early. It's really helpful if you can learn how to do it. And then I'm going to drop the SP2 here, and he's going to die with a medium right after, or a heavy attack right after, actually. So there we go. That's another Alliance War fight that went really well for Angela. Next up, we're going to be taking another Hazard Shift fight, this time Scorpion on, what is this? This is Node 9. And yeah, Angela is just going to do this as well as she does any Hazard Shift. You're basically just going to become immune to the debuffs really fast, and then it's just a Scorpion that has power efficiency, basically. So, Tactic makes it to where you don't have to worry about his evade at all, which is definitely a bonus here, but we don't really need it for anything. Here, I'm just trying to only hit him while he's stunned until I get Clarity up, and then once that's up, which it is now, the fight is basically over. We do take some Incinerate damage. It would be a lot better if I was boosted, obviously, but this is off-season, so I didn't boost for this one. But we do have Angela's regen still ticking, which is really nice. And there, I'm usually really good at Scorpion's SP1 decks, but I messed it up. But, you know, we still don't get poisoned, so it wasn't that bad. The taunt is giving me willpower. Well, it is reducing my damage a bit, but still, that is definitely nice. Here's another SP2 that I'm going to dex, and we get the counter that time. And this Scorpion is dead just like that. So next up, we're going to take a different kind of node. This one's going to be on path 5, and this is not a tactic versus tactic fight. This is Angela versus Nova, And Angela is very, very good for this fight. And the reason for that is, one, you parry non-contacts, so parrying Nova is never a problem. And two, you can shut off not only auto block from Clarity, but also you can just do it from Angela's Sig ability, so you don't even need Clarity at all for this fight. See, I went for an intercept there, and I reduced his ability accuracy to auto block enough to where he couldn't do that. I didn't even have Clarity yet, so at this point, the fight's like really easy. We can parry his mediums whenever we feel like it, and we just want to go for an intercept when that protection needs to come down, and we're fine. So here I'm gonna go for the SV1 dex, then I'm going to go for an intercept right after, and protection is down, and this Nova is just gonna melt really fast right after. So anyway, 24k medium, and yeah, this lights out for Nova. That fight took only 34 seconds, which is very, very nice. Alright, so the next war fights I'm going to be showing off are in-season war fights, and these were from Unascended Angela, but they were good enough that I wanted to include them in the video anyway, even though she was Unascended. And we're also obviously boosted because it's in-season, so this is going to make her feel a bit more like an Ascended version anyway, just by watching these fights. So we're going to go in and fight this Idoom on node 7, which is a path splitting or diversity placement mainly, just because he doesn't really benefit from the nodes here. It's just an Idoom that has Clarity that we need to worry about. So there, he auto-blocked, but he shouldn't be able to do that. Oh wait, no, because, never mind, I forgot the tactic kind of ability accuracy can't modify it. So yeah, Angela's Sig ability won't shut down tactic auto-block, so we do need to get Clarity for that. Did kind of forget about that in the moment, but it's all good. And at this point, this Idoom is just, like, absolutely annihilated. That's a 39k medium. And we have Odin on the team, and what Odin does is he makes it to where every fight you win with the team, Angela is going to get 5% extra buff potency. So we didn't have any of the benefits on that first fight, which is pretty insane, honestly. The aptitude, obviously, is really nice for her Furies and such, and then the shock, resistance, and protection are just helpful there. But next up, we're going to fight Penny Parker on node 36. I didn't play this fight that great at the start, I believe, but it goes pretty well. We activate a combat regen boost just to heal up a little bit. And here, I shouldn't be full hitting into her because, I kind of forgot that Angela's Sig isn't going to affect Clarity. I need to actually ramp up my Clarity charge before I can really shut it off. So the only reason we are taking damage, that lag, man, really messed me up. The only reason we're taking bleed is because if the opponent has deep wounds, we are still going to be affected by it. It's a little annoying that it works that way, but yeah, deep wounds is going to make it to where you will have the bleed on you for a couple seconds. But other than that, the bleeds are very, very shortened, and then the shocks just aren't there at all. So anyway, obviously there is the one eye open node on this fight, so we don't ever want to parry this Penny. That's fine. The block damage we take, we can heal back a little bit. I mean, obviously we do have Penny's heal block on us from Sig ability, but we also have a lot of her reinforced charges, or whatever they're called, which is just fueling my regens constantly because of the combo I took, so I got a lot of them. But anyway, we sold the fight. I just, messed up a little bit because my phone lagged and it was really frustrating. So next up, next tactic fight, in-season fight, is going to be this Shocker on node 37. I was a little worried about this one going into it because I didn't really know how strong Angela was when I was taking this fight. So yeah, we're just going for parry heavies at the start. Here I kind of realize, yeah, I can't really shut off tactic with Angela's Sig. But now that we have Clarity, it's just a lot more parry heavies and such. And then this Shocker, he has a lot of regen. We can manage some of that with Despair from the armor breaks. But the armor breaks, again, aren't that long. So a lot of managing Despair is just going to be by knocking him down. Or managing regen, I should say, is going to be by knocking him down. And just keeping him away from us a little bit. So parry heavies was a lot of the play for this fight, which is fine because her heavy attack has extra crit rating, so it makes it to where you're still doing a lot of damage on that heavy, like 31k right there. It's really nice. I'm going for a precision here, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably should have just stuck with the Furies in hindsight, but it's all good. We're gonna go for a combo there, SP2 there, get some nice crits on the special, and did I have power backs on for this fight? It would have helped if I did. I'm not really sure. But there, I forgot about the unblockable thing that Shocker does. But it's all good. We're going to go back in, and he's just going to die right after that with a 21k medium with not the max amount of Fury. So that is cool. And then the last in-season war fight, I think the last war fight of this video as well, is going to be against Iron Man Infinity War here on Node 45. Another really nice fight where Angela can trigger parry against non-contact. And again, this is like the hazard shift on section 2 path 9. So if they do bleed me and they have deep wounds, I will still take a little bit of damage, but other than that, yeah, this fight is really well shut down, especially when I have wags. So the only time I am going to trigger Conflictor is going to be when I throw a special attack and start placing those armor breaks. And that's about it. This Iron Man is just a big Iron Man at this point, and that doesn't really matter because we shut off his auto block in the final phase too, so we literally just kind of hit him and then eventually he's gonna die. Because Angela is just goated. So we throw another special there. I need to bait this SP2 out of him real quick. He throws it, and I get the dexes nicely, and crumbling armor is literally just willpower, so that's cool. And I go for a parry heavy, and yeah, the fight's about over. Am I gonna go for a parry heavy again? I didn't need to. I had clarity to shut off the auto block. I have no idea why I did that. I think I was still like getting used to tactic or something early in the season. I don't know. But anyway, that was the last war fight of the video, I think. Except for War Showcase, which is technically war fights, but technically not because it's a completely different piece of content, as in solo content. And also, some of these fights you can't even see in War. Like, the fights that don't exist. Lady Deathstrike as a 7-star rank 3 could exist, but like the CGR earlier in this quest can't exist because a 7-star CGR is not a thing. But this fight definitely could exist if someone places a rank 3 Lady Deathstrike because she's a 7-star on node 28. This is something you could realistically be fighting in War, except no one places LDS on node 26 or node 28. So not really. But Angela's really good for this fight because again, you shut off Nullify with your Sig ability. Like, reason number 50 that Angela's utility kit is absolutely insane and probably would not be allowed in a buff that was like of their most recent year. But she's so good, dude. Her kit just has way too many things that counter things, and she just works for so much stuff. Like, no auto block ever, no nullify ever, no damaging debuffs on you ever, when you obviously ramp up your buffs accordingly, which isn't that hard to do. Especially when, you know, buffet can only trigger every 7 seconds, so during those 7 seconds you ramp up your buffs and such, which isn't really that difficult, because you gain them a lot when you crit, you gain them a lot when you cross a bar of power, you gain the regen sometimes. It's just a really good time. So this is going to be Iron Man Infinity War on node, what is this node? This is node 14 on the war map. And it has Ebb and Flow Knockdown and Aggression Precision. So basically the goal for this fight is to catch people with Iron Man's heavy attack, and the ability to not be able to parry him on his mediums means that he's likely to throw a heavy attack a lot more. But Angela can parry non-context, so that's not a problem for us. Let's see. What else is interesting about this fight? I'm gonna like barely survive this because I just played like crap. I was on stream too, which, you know, makes it harder, but yeah, Angela's really good for this. I don't even know how I got hit there. But it's just kind of like parry heavy, get the protection down, and then you're kind of chilling. especially when your heavy attack crits, because then it does an insane amount of damage, because Angela does an insane amount of damage. So we are going to go for the special 2 here, and again, while we don't have clarity in this fight, because this was an Ex Magica meta, we are going to be able to shut off his auto block through her Sig ability as well. So there, I run into his heavy attack because I'm stupid, but it's okay. Because we're not gonna die, even though it looks like we might. We have the heal block on us, which really sucks, actually. But that's okay. Gonna go for a parry heavy, not parry heavy. I'm gonna knock him down this way instead. And then he's gonna die very shortly after. We get the SP2 dex. I can't afford to parry if I just don't miss the parry. With like a regular blocked hit instead, and then we live at 1%, so that's fun. But yeah, that is going to be the last of the quote-unquote war fights. Next we're going to be going to Incursions content, because Angela is the Incursions champion. You throw her on a team with Odin, and just because of how many fights there are in the quest to pump up her damage, she just goes absolutely insane. And also some of the hacks are just really good for her, like buff cornucopia is insane for her. The one that gives you extra attack per buff on you is insane for her. I don't even remember all of them. Like, she's just way too good for Incursions, dude. We got like a massive crit on that special 2 there. The medium attacks, that was like 84k. Like, there's one Incursion fight. We're going to be going through a good bit of Incursion fights just because of how crazy they were. But next up we're going to fight this Ronin. This guy has no nodes, so we just kind of go in, hit him a lot, gain some power from the Rage into Combat hack, I want to say it's called. Throw the SP2 here. It does a lot of damage because she's good at that, and then we're going to dex his SP2 real quick, and then, yeah, it's just a really good time from here. We throw the Relic, we have some regens and a bunch of other buffs that just came from Buffcorn that, you know, are really nice. Another thing, speaking of Incursions, it's not just about her damage being insane. When you increase the buff potency from Odin's synergy, that's not only hitting like your Furies and stuff, that's hitting your armor ups and regenerations too, which just makes her insanely sustainable for a piece of content that does not really give you a lot of wiggle room for mistakes. So the fact that I become so tanky and can recover so much health is just really nice for content like this that, again, doesn't let you have a lot of mistakes. So this fight's going to take a little bit just because I'm going to block Deadpool's SP2s, which is just going to place a lot of taunts on me. And his taunts, you know, they reduce my attack by quite a bit. So also, Odin's synergy is not only hitting my buffs, but the buffs from Buffcorn as well. So we are going to get some more damage there. And it's just a really nice time, especially when you roll like a power gain, or like it's kind of like a combat power rate buff more than a power gain. And yeah, it's just, her in Incursions is always a blast to do. Like, this Angela teams are the teams I enjoy making the most in Incursions. I do sometimes do bullseye teams, and I'm also not a big fan of Incursions in general. I've liked it a lot more in 15 zones because it feels like less chance to like get screwed over by something stupid in the game mode. But Angela teams are my favorite to do in Incursions for sure, just because she's just really fun to play, with how much yellow numbers you're doing. Like, who wouldn't want to see like 1,000,000 damage on a medium sometimes? So it's just a joy to play her in Incursions, and definitely the team that I will pick first. And the fact that her and her Odin synergy were part of the Clarity tactic, allowing them to actually be able to be used, were just really nice for this run, because I could make an Angela team. I could do a Bullseye team or something if I wanted to, but I did Bullseye team last time, so I wanted to do Angela this time and just have fun with it. And that's kind of what I did for this Incursions run. I did with my friend Egg. So next Incursions fight's going to be against this Kang here. We're in Zone 15 now. I'm only doing 2 more Incursions fights, and then we'll finish it off with a couple Spring of Sorrow stuff. So this Kang has no nodes. It's just like a fight that we can see the amount of hacks that, I guess I should say this is how crazy the hacks make Angela. We have 6 Furies. That's pretty cool. We go for an SP2. It does a lot of damage. And then we go for a medium, and it does 114k. And yeah, that King is dead. And then we're gonna fight this Wasp now to finish off the Incursions fights of the video. And this Wasp has Brawl, and I was slightly worried about it because I have no idea why, because I should have just realized, hey, Angela's kind of stupid and we'll be fine. Oh yeah, it was Combat Deja Vu and Blockable. That's why I was a little nervous, because if I get hit by Wasp, I'm dead. She hits so hard, especially when she charges her heavy attack and does the guaranteed crits. So I just don't want to get hit. So we're not going to hit her when she's not stunned, and we're also not going to that was lucky. We're also not going to trigger an unblockable. So anyway, this Wasp is almost dead already. We're gonna go for the Relic here, which didn't actually stun her, even though she got hit by it. So I don't really know exactly how the Relic Striker opening works, I guess, but it's okay. That's the last Incursions fight. Next up, we're going to be fighting Spring of Sorrow Gwenpool. I'm going to speed this fight up because it's not really the fastest, but when Gwenpool came out for the first time as a Spring of Sorrow fight, she did have an objective that was 2017, so I used Angela for that the initial run. I didn't make a video about it, but here I did a 2017 to 2020 run with Angela. So she fit that objective again, which is pretty cool. And this fight could be faster if I did a different rotation. If I did the aptitude rotation I showed you earlier in this video, I guarantee you it would be faster. Like, I truly believe that it would. I just didn't think about it going into this fight. I was just like, we'll spam some precisions and furies just like the basic Angela rotation, and it'll probably be fine. Yeah, in hindsight, I would be going for SB3 rotation. The SB3 would hit really hard itself with the prowess and the furies and all that stuff. Also, her SB3 does more attack per buff on you, I believe, so yeah, there's no reason for me to not go SB3s. If you're doing this fight yourself, go SB3s, please. And if it actually isn't smart, do tell me about it, because it makes sense in my head, but there's always a chance that my head is lying to me. So, anyway, we manage invert controls a lot by throwing my special attack during the transition period, or my relic during the transition period, so that when the special attack ends or when the striker ends, my brain knows exactly what I need to do. As in, like, if I need to dash back or dash forwards during the end of the special attack or the striker, rather than mid combo, which is harder, and especially mid Gwenpool's special attack. Like, that's definitely the hardest time to deal with invert controls, is during Gwenpool's special. So throw the SP2 there, it does decent damage. Her special attacks, again, aren't like the main focus of her damage loop. Angela does a lot more damage on basics than specials, in my opinion, so she's not like the craziest damage dealer for this fight because of the fact you can only do damage through specials, but also, yeah, she's just gonna finish the fight right there, and it worked out pretty nicely. But the fight that I do think she works perfectly for is this Jessica Jones boss, because think about it. Angela does a lot of yellow numbers. She increases the rate and damage of those yellow numbers through furies and precisions, but what she doesn't have is a cruelty. And Angela with cruelties is absolutely mental, from which you're going to see in this fight because of the combo party node. So we're going to ramp up our furies, our precisions, our cruelties from combo party, and just absolutely go crazy. We probably don't go for precisions, actually, because I have the node that give me guaranteed crits on intercepts, so I don't really need it. But, like, we're doing 20k mediums with, like, not even 2 expiring furies, so yeah, this fight is really fun. 25k mediums there. Just want to keep countering her specials to get that grit and keep that guaranteed crit buff from intercepts active, and then remove protections by any means possible, whether it be medium ember, heavy attack, or special attack. So there, 35k mediums, like, it's just going absolutely perfect. 59k end of the special, like 80k in total. So yeah, I probably should throw an SB1 instead of going for an SB2. It looks like I'm going for an SB2 instead. No, I'm going for an SB1. I did do the smart thing. Okay. So there we go. Protection's down. 33k mediums, like 41k mediums. It's so nice, dude. Angela is just such a fun champion. We go for the medium intercept, or light intercept there, and then I believe I just kill her with a medium. Yeah, 35k medium with protection up. Anyway, that's the Angela video. Again, this is the 2017 champion that never ages. She will always feel relevant to me. There's too much utility and damage in this kit for her to fall off for a long time, in my opinion, and I am so thankful that I rank 5 ascended her when I did, because she's been more useful to me now than I ever could have imagined. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and sub and all the YouTube jazz I'm supposed to tell you about, and I will see you in the next video.